Okay. Good morning, everybody. Not sure if you're at work, not sure if you're at home, but I've been in the background trying to get this streaming together. The other day, I was trying to go live when the whole P. Diddy news broke about him getting arrested. I was so excited and ready to go live. I went live on YouTube, and for some reason, my audio did not record. I was so mad because I said so much in that video. I was so upset that it didn't. You couldn't hear anything. I even went back and I was like trying to see if I could fix the volume some kind of way and then upload the video later, and that didn't work. So um, I'm trying this again. This time I'm using StreamYard, so we'll see how far I get. Because yesterday I did a test run and just to see if I could hear myself. And I heard myself, so I was like, okay, good. That means that I can move forward today. Um, so my video is not going to be like so much about what happened with his bail and stuff, because at this point, I think we all know his bail got denied twice. Twice his bail got denied. And I kind of figured that was going to happen because the way that this attorney was speaking to the news outlet when he first was reading the indictment against Mr. Combs, they had no intention of allowing him bail. No intention, which is a good thing because if you ask me, P. Diddy has a reputation for getting out of Dodge, being able to dodge a bullet. Being undercover, if you will. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I really think that everything is about to go south, like south for him. I think it's about to go south for him. I knew this a while ago, though. A while ago, I knew this. So I just want to read like this latest, just a little bit of this. As far as like his charges, he's got the racketeering. He's got the racketeering charge. What else? The Combs Enterprise. This is his business. So mainly where they believe he was doing most of these criminal activities was through his businesses. Let me see. The charges, he has bribery, arson. Let's see. Kidnapping. Okay. Multiple acts involving kidnapping, multiple acts involving arson, multiple acts involving bribery, multiple acts under Title 18 relating to tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. That means that if somebody knew anything that was going on that he didn't want out, and that person may get the urge to go to law enforcement or tell somebody, then he would attempt to bribe them or intimidate them some kind of way. Forced labor, sex trafficking. Transportation and inducement to travel for purposes of prostitution and illegal sexual activities. But the thing about these charges is none of this stuff is new. None of it. None of it is new. A lot of this stuff is stuff he had already been accused of before. But now I think ever since the FBI raid on his property, they came that what came out of that is why we have this, I think. Aside from the other stuff where they were talking to the victims, all the victims that he's had or that have come forward about him so far, and then the tapes and stuff that they found, that everything is unfortunately is looking worse for him. Because once they have the physical evidence, you in trouble. And a good example of P. Diddy understanding that is when Cassie came forward with her lawsuit. Okay. I think I got her lawsuit up here too. Yeah. When she came forward with her lawsuit, and then they end up with this video from the hotel. Okay. Before this video came out, Puff Daddy had no intention of admitting to doing anything that was alleged against him that was unbecoming or would damage his reputation. He was fighting it, accusing her of this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then when this video comes out, he decides that he wants to come out with an apologetic video. I think that was strictly for that was for the public. Like that wasn't, I don't think that there was anything genuine about that apology, because had that video from the hotel not been made public, essentially we wouldn't have any evidence outside of what Miss Cassie said to prove that he was being abusive to her. So this goes back to what I was saying about Puff Daddy before when I did my videos, where I was like, anything that this man says or whatever you see with this man, you cannot believe because it opposes his reality. That means that if you don't see it, he's not going to cop to it. He shows you what he wants you to know about him. That's what he does. So he comes out with this video after the video of the hotel where Miss Cassidy was getting kicked, and drug on the floor by Mr. Combs. Now he has to come out and be like, I apologize. I understand that I was wrong and blah, blah. So you didn't understand that before this video came out? That's my question. Before this video came out, Miss Cassie, you didn't understand that? Now you can come out to the public and say that you understand that? But when this lady came with her case against you, I mean, to me, I had already been saying anyway, that because Miss Cassie was going to come out with this book, and then she decides to do a case against him because, you know, for whatever reason, the fact that he was willing to pay this sum of money to end this lawsuit real quick speaks volumes to me. Even though he had his lawyers come out and say, this is not an admission of guilt. It's not an admission of guilt, right? So when the video comes out of you abusing Miss Cassie, why do you feel the need to come out with an apology video? Okay, those two things don't match. So what I really feel like is you didn't have any intention of telling the public that you did any of this stuff. But when they came out with the video that showed your face and showed your actions that day, you really didn't have a choice, did you? Because I really think this is more about your reputation than anything else. So let's see here. So from yesterday, yeah, this was yesterday. So yesterday from CNN, they updated what was going on with his bail. It says Sean Diddy Combs to remain in custody after judge denies bail appeal in racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking case. So they had denied him, and then he tried to appeal it because he really wanted to get out. I knew already that that was not going to happen. And sure enough, it got denied again. It says Sean Diddy Combs will remain in federal custody ahead of his trial on racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges after his lawyers failed Wednesday to appeal a judge's decision to deny him bail. Prosecutors had argued he was at risk of obstructing the case that he's already known for doing. You've heard the complaints from his victims where he is used to victim intimidation, trying to silence people who will talk out against him or bring to light things that he don't want out there. He's not above coercion. We know that by now. He's got a charge for bribery. So he's known for that too. If he doesn't want it out, he's gonna do whatever he has to do to keep it from coming out. Judge Andrew Carter said there were no conditions that reduced the risk of witness tampering or obstruction. The hip-hop artist is facing charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded not guilty. So this right here is telling me already that Sean Combs does not intend to stand accountable for anything that they do not prove, i.e. whatever evidence they have, he's got to see it first. It's got to come forward first before he opens his mouth. He's already shown you that situation, like I said, with Cassidy. He wasn't going to admit anything until you came out with that evidence, and then you brought out the video. Now he's taking accountability? No. So unless the evidence comes out that shows he's more guilty than not, or where, he cannot refute the evidence, he's not going to be accountable for it. He's not going to take accountability for it. So I'm not surprised that he's pleading not guilty. Combs, 54, faces the sentence of up to life in prison if convicted. His next court appearance is scheduled for October 9th. That could always change. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, Agnifilo. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm not going to let him sit in that jail a day longer than he has to. I mean, I guess you really don't have no say-so in that. You might not want him in there, but guess what? The judge says he can't go anywhere. When asked about Combs' apparent lack of reaction to the ruling, his lawyer said he's a stoic guy in this manner. He's been through a lot in his life. Yep. Prosecutors allege Combs created and ran a criminal enterprise through his business empire that engaged in crimes, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The music mogul is being held by himself at a special housing unit in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, according to a law enforcement official, after another judge denied bail Tuesday. Prosecutors opposed releasing Combs on any grounds, telling the court he has attempted to tamper with witnesses and saying the risk of danger is acute. Because mind you, if they allow Puff Daddy to make bail, there is nothing stopping him from contacting whoever he needs to contact to make moves. Even if he himself does not attempt to flee, long as he got access to the internet and the phone, he can handle business. That's what I'll say. They pointed to an alleged cache of weapons found in the closet of Combs' bedroom and his access to millions of dollars in bank accounts and cash that make him a flight risk. Let's not forget, if I'm not mistaken, P. Diddy had his own private plane. So he didn't have to book a ticket to go somewhere. He has his own plane. If he want to go fly, he go fly. But again, even if they allowed, like say for instance, the judge allowed him to make bail and he claims he's going to be at home, or they set the stipulation that he is confined to his home, he can't go anywhere. I'm gonna just say it like this. He would still have access to the same people who were allegedly a part of this business empire of his that's been known to take care of matters for him. So he would have had access to them. To try to sway a federal judge to release Combs while he awaits trial, his lawyers submitted a new bail package Wednesday that proposed to restrict all female visitors to his home who are not family members and limit all visitors to his Miami properties. I guess he thought that was enough to get released. So you were going to restrict access to female visitors? We all know that, you know, it wasn't just about the females. So I'm not really sure why that, I mean, I don't know why that was so significant. The proposed bail package included a $50 million bond co-signed by Combs, his mother, and several family members, surrender of his passport, home detention, weekly drug testing, and a visitor log to be submitted nightly to pretrial services. I mean, yeah, you could have had all of that. But what he should have done is give up all access to outside contact, where, you know, he can't be around internet. He can't have no internet. He can't have no phones. People around him can't have no phones. But I think another reason why I don't think that this would have been a good idea is because P. Diddy is not above taking any precautionary measures to ensure his freedom. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there are other ways of relieving himself of the responsibility that he's going to have to face in trial. I'm not going to say what that is, but some people can read through the lines. I'll just say it like this. If you want to be surrounded by your closest relatives, the people closest to you, after having surrendered your passport, be put on home detention, be set up for drug testing, require visa law, okay, all of that. I get all of that. But if you got everybody around you that you may want around you, that may give you the comfort, or that may give you the support that you're looking to have before you do whatever you're going to do. And I'm going to leave it at that. So I really think that it's best that he stays in jail before his trial. He needs to stay in jail completely. He does not need to be let out of anybody's sight. He needs to be watched. But at the start of Wednesday's hearing, Carter said the package did not provide reasonable assurance Combs would return to court. My bigger concern deals with the danger of obstruction of justice and the danger of witness tampering, because if I am mistaken, Puff Daddy was paying officers, or he had people in law enforcement that he would deal with. I mean, Sean Combs' network reach is far. There's a lot of big names associated with this man. People who have huge influence, if you will. Combs' attorney proposed putting in place additional strenuous and maybe unusual conditions to address the court's concerns, including that Combs have no access to a cell phone. I just said that. Including that Combs have no access to a cell phone or internet, and to have an intelligence firm staffed with former state and federal officials monitor the residents 24 hours a day. Any witness intimidation would be completely nullified, he said in court. The judge, however, said the package was insufficient in ruling the government had met its burden of proof. So whatever the prosecution laid out for the judge, it was enough to convince the judge that it was better if Mr. Combs remained in detention. So whatever that was, whatever they told the judge, whatever they was explaining to the judge, they must have did a good job, because he was denied again. Now this right here, like where it says Combs' attorney pushes back against obstruction claims. The indictment states Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct for more than a decade. It's no doubt in my mind that Sean Combs used and abused women for their bodies, their beauty, and everything that came with having a female around. So I really feel like he used the women to put up the front because he couldn't come out as being gay. And these are my opinions. But my opinion about him is the women were a means to an end for him. Like, they were not loved or admired for being great performers or entertainers, artists. They were not being praised for that reason. Their use was for something more grand than what we knew about, we as in the public. They were a front for what was really going on. And they had to be controlled. The women had to be controlled. And I'm going to keep saying that because of his pull in the industry, it does seem to me that he knew that these people, not just the women, but he knew that these artists and these musicians, all these people who worked around him that wanted to build their lives, he knew that he can control them because he had all the assets. He had all the pull. And in order to keep them at bay, he had to control them in some manner. So it's like, you want this, you can have this, but here's the trade-off. That's what it was. So this says, the indictment accuses Combs of working with other associates and employees, alleges he hosted drug-fueled freak-offs. What the indictment describes as elaborate and produced sex performances with victims and sex workers, notes instances of physical and sexual abuse, and illuminates what law enforcement found in the March raids of his home. I mean, why would this grown man be having these types of parties that were done out of the limelight? So the public was not privy to these parties. They were private parties. So you're hosting private parties for other celebrities and people in the industry. And then they find out afterwards that you were recording them, because not everybody knew. Not everybody knew that's what you were doing. But you were recording these celebrities or these elites, these people in this society that, you know, they network in. I could just imagine what was on these tapes. if he's got people's faces, oh my gosh, this is on another level here. And I do believe this is going to be like a trickle-down effect, a domino effect, if you will. I do believe it's going to be like this. And I guess my question is, how much do y'all think that Puff Daddy is going to talk? How much do y'all think that he is willing to divulge? Because he's facing up to life in prison at this point. And given that he just got arrested, and shortly after he got arrested, he was looking to post bail, it's clear to me that he is trying to avoid being detained at all costs. Okay? He does not want to be in prison. This is kind of ironic. I mean, to me, you want to live the life, but you don't want to live the life. Because that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from him. I mean, there ain't nothing going on in prison that you ain't already accustomed to at this point, I don't believe. And these are my opinions. These are my opinions. What's going on right now with Puff Daddy is, I mean, what you getting ready to face, it would seem to me that you wouldn't have anything to worry about. You already living that life, aren't you? But you trying hard as hell already before anything gets started to get out of detention. So I want to know how much you guys think P. Diddy is willing to divulge. Do y'all think he's going to talk? Do y'all think he's going to be giving up names? What do y'all think is going to happen? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I think he's capable of all of that. Giving up names, giving hints, pointing things out. He's guilty of all of that. Because in my video, I'm going to do a review on it. I said that P. Diddy knows to protect himself. That's what he's done his entire life, is to protect himself. It's his protection above everybody else. So given that I said that, I just want to know if y'all think he gonna talk. He gonna start ratting on people. In court Tuesday, Attorney Johnson argued Combs should be detained because he is a serial abuser and a serial obstructor. Adding pretrial services also recommended detention. Diddy's lawyer asserted the case is about one victim, an argument fiercely opposed by federal prosecutors. In a rebuttal, Johnson emphasized there are multiple victims. Since last November, Combs has been hit with 10 lawsuits. I got at least 4 or 5 right here. I got, 4, not including his. I got 4 right there. Members and associates of the Combs enterprise engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other activities, sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotics offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction. During Combs' detention hearing, prosecutors said at least a dozen witnesses personally observed the music mogul's violence against women or the injuries they sustained at his hands. Because I remember, I mean, he had multiple cases where women have come forward about him abusing them. And that includes his ex, Kim Porter. He used to abuse her too. Prosecutors also noted Combs had reached out to victims and witnesses, some of whom are scared of him. Now, I wonder why. They're afraid of him. Now, I want y'all to hear this. This is something that I came across with him, where he's trying to solicit new workers to come work with him. Like, this is all while he's got cases and stuff going on. This was posted, looks like this was posted in 2022. Just listen to this man. Let's see if it's gonna play. I just want to see if is it gonna play? Is anybody paying attention to this? This is right here. God's work at combsglobal.com. God's work? What? Huh? You gonna buy Disney? You buying Disney for who? Because Disney is for kids. Why you buying Disney? Disney is for kids. Huh? Oh no. What's the unicorn executive? Am I missing something? I mean, because if somebody knows, please let me know what's going on. Because what is a unicorn executive? Is that code for something? Because nowadays I know there's a lot of code words out here for things. So I'm wondering, is that a code word for something? Because I never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Hold. Wait a minute. Okay. Now, my spiritual work does not involve coercion and bribery, recording people without their knowledge, dragging people on the floor because you're preventing them to leave, from leaving. It does not involve blacking someone's eye. None of my spiritual work involves that. So if you're doing God's work, what does that entail for you? Okay? Because I'm a light worker. I'm a light worker. Okay? What are you? Because we're not doing the same thing. If you say you doing your God's work, and I'm telling you I am a light worker, but we're not doing the same shit. I just want some clarification here. Does your God work in the light? Because I'm confused. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm confused about that. I don't sit back and allow other people to take accountability for the shit that I've done. I don't do that. If I say something or I do something, I stand on what I do and what I say. I don't need somebody else to speak for me. I don't need somebody else to take blame for me. I'm just saying. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's why I'm confused. He told you to ask for help. But I thought you already had help in this area. So why are you so desperate? I mean, it sounds to me like you on a time crunch, like you need to expedite some shit. It sounds like you might be worried that some other endeavors might not be going through the way you want it to, or whatever the case. But why do you need people? And I thought you already had people. I'm a little confused by this because it sounds like you hiring for every type of position here from what you just said. Hmm. I feel like this is all in vain. Everything he's doing right now is all in vain. I don't feel that this was a spiritual calling type of thing. That's not what I'm getting. I feel like this is more like a plea, like he's begging. And again, I'm saying this sounds to me more like he is under some kind of constraint, or he's under some kind of anxiety, like he's worried about time or something. So you preaching about love here. You're yelling out the word love here. So when you guys hear the word love, what do you think? Because just because somebody's throwing their word out doesn't mean that they're emphasizing that word, what that word means. It could be that they're using that word to get what they want. Because when people hear that word, I think you know what the meaning is to you. You know what the meaning is to you. We know what the definition of love is. But I think with with this man and people like him, you have to be careful with that word, what that word means. I don't like when people just throw that word love out there, because love does not mean the same thing to everybody. It does not. You have those that say it, and then you have those that show it. And at this point, I don't really feel like Diddy has shown that he loves anybody but himself. And again, these are my opinions. I have to make sure that I keep saying that. These are my opinions. But yeah, I just wanted to show y'all that. It gave me pause. I was like, why the hell is he doing this? And then look at some of the responses. Somebody said, pay your artist first, bro. Somebody said, which God you talking about? I said that too. Who you talking about? Somebody said, can't change the world unless we change ourselves. Oh my gosh, but these are the ones that I feel sorry for. These people like him. I would love to work with you, Diddy. I'm so excited from watching you bring others up. I'm going to launch my release soon. Love you, Puff. Keep your head up. You're such an inspiration. May God bless your good intentions. Somebody says, start by paying your own artist what's owed. Somebody say, who killed Pop? Oh gosh, somebody said, we don't want to die, Diddy. The dark circles under his eyes shows who he really is. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me see something. I got so many clips. Let me see something. Let me see. Oh man. I had to come back to that. All right. So let me go over my video. I need to go over my video. So this says, remember when I asked this question on March 1st, 2024. So on March 1st, 2024, I did a birth chart reading. I did a birth chart reading on P. Diddy. And after that, in the same month, I think towards the end of March, I did a tarot reading on P. Diddy. And I put them both, I put samples of them both in this video just so I could talk about the types of stuff that's going on here. Let me see something. Okay, so let me start. We're going to talk about Puff Daddy, because I'm trying to figure out that if something ain't true about you, why the hell does it keep coming up? Okay, because I'm not understanding that right now. I'm just not understanding that right now. Like, if it's not true, why does the same thing keep coming up about you? It's gotta be some truth to this, because these people, aside from him, none of these people really deal with each other like that. They are all celebrities. Like, a lot of them celebrities, or they in entertainment some kind of way, but other than you, why would they feel the need to conspire against you? They don't have anything in common except for you. You. Oh my God. And I think that the reason why I was tripping is because somebody can't keep complaining that, oh, you know, they just trying to come up, they just trying to get a quick dollar and blah, 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 blah. I guess for somebody who's able to pull the strings, of course they got to say that. They got to say that. Okay, because that's their way of throwing dirt at your credibility, because they have more money than you. So it's like, they're the ones that bought you on. So why wouldn't you try to get at them if something didn't go your way? That's what they try to throw out there. Oh, you're lying and you just trying to get money. And of course, a lot of them do that. A lot of these celebrities will do that. They will try to throw dirt at the people who are trying to come up, because these people, some way down the line, they understand that what they thought they were getting is not what they're getting. Something has changed where there's no longer a meeting of the minds. That's what's happening. But it's like, who do you believe? The person with the money or the person without the money? Because a lot of times that's what this comes down to. So that's why a lot of these celebrities will try to, you know, stomp on you before you can get anywhere. They'll try to shut you down before you can get anywhere, because they have the money to do it. They you know, they got to call you a liar before you can prove them to be a liar, type of thing. This is Joy Dickerson. Okay. This is Joy Dickerson. I got her lawsuit too. Joy Dickerson, or Joy, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Joy or Joy. It's either Joy or Joy Dickerson Neal. Okay, she brought a complaint against P. Diddy. This was in 2023, so the end of last year. She brought a complaint against him, where she said she suffered substantial and lifetime injuries as a result of being drugged, sexually assaulted and abused, and being the victim of revenge porn. That Sean Combs, or P. Diddy at the time is what he was calling himself, created and distributed. So she's accusing him of using porn against her. She said that in January of 1991, while on school break for the holidays, she agreed to an early dinner with Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy. They had many friends and acquaintances in common, and she had appeared with Combs in a few clips of a music video. Combs pushed Miss Wells to keep him company as he attended to a few things in the city. Getting into Combs's car that day was something Miss Dickerson would come to regret forever. During their date, Combs had intentionally drugged Miss Dickerson, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Driving first to a music studio where she could not get out of the car because she was incapacitated. Combs proceeded to a place he was staying to sexually assault her, as was his practice, but unbeknownst to Miss Dickerson, Combs video recorded the sexual assault. Days later, a male friend revealed to her that he had viewed the sex tape along with other men. So she alleged that Puff Daddy drugged her, got her to his place, sexually assaulted her, recorded it, and then showed it to other people, and other male friends then told Miss Dickerson they saw it. Horrified, Miss Dickerson asked how many others saw it, to which he responded, everyone. Miss Dickerson's life went into a tailspin. Unable to function, she dropped out of college, struggled with her mental health and career progression thereafter. The sexual assault and public exposure of it caused her to suffer overwhelming feelings of humiliation, embarrassment, violation, and constant apprehension about who all viewed it. As Combs' success and wealth rose quickly, she tried to block his existence out. She tried to put her life back on track. Today, she's still continuing to work on her emotional health, economic recovery, and finishing her college degree. So, oh gosh. This was something that she said he did to her back in 1991. Now, fast forward to where we are now with him being in the court system, where the FBI just pulled footage from the raid they did on his house. They got footage from that house of recordings that Diddy did. So now do y'all feel like Miss Joy Dickerson is lying? This was in 1991 that he did this to her. Now, I think everybody knows who this is. This is Rodney, Lil Rod. He filed this year. He filed his lawsuit against Diddy in February of this year. He alleged that Puff Daddy directly or through his agents or apparent agents committed one or more of the following: the transaction of business within the state, making of any contract within the state, commission of a tortuous act within the district, and ownership, use, or possession of real estate. Let's see here. I want to see what his charges are, because there was a lot of people that was being accused. So not only was Rodney Jones accusing Puff Daddy, but he also accused Puff Daddy's son, Justin Combs. He accused the CEO of Motown Records, Lucian Grange. I think you say his name like that. He's also accusing Christina Koram, who's the chief of staff for Combs Enterprises. Hold on, I said this wrong, y'all. Did I say this wrong? Hold on, I said this wrong. So Lucian Grange is the CEO of Universal Music Group. Sorry. So he's the CEO of Universal Music Group. Ethiopia Haptamariam, I don't know how to say her last name. She is the CEO of Motown Records, which is the parent company of Sean Combs' Love Records label. And then Christina Koram is the chief of staff for the Combs Global Enterprises. So all of them are in this lawsuit brought about by Rodney Jones. Let's see. It says on or about August 2022, Mr. Jones received a call from Mr. Combs requesting that he produce several songs on a rhythm and blues album titled The Love Album, Off the Grid, which is Sean Combs' Love album. So Sean contacted Mr. Jones in August of 2022 to ask him to produce these songs for the album. Mr. Jones agreed. From September 2022 to November 2023, Mr. Jones produced 9 songs on Mr. Combs' Love album. Mr. Jones lived with Mr. Combs for months at a time. Spending holidays, birthdays, and missing major family events. Mr. Jones resided at Mr. Combs' residence located in Los Angeles, California, New York City, and Miami, Florida. Mr. Jones also spent several weeks on a yacht rented by Mr. Combs in the Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on Love album. The claims raised in this complaint have been corroborated through witness statements, video, audio recordings, and images that Mr. Jones has in his possession. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. I wonder why. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. Why take Mr. Jones' cell phone to record yourself? You have your own damn cell phone. Why are you taking his phone to do that? That's some sketchy shit. Mr. Combs required Mr. Jones to record him constantly. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took his phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity. Mr. Jones has secured irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of X, sugarcane, and some other stuff. I don't know if I can even say all of this stuff. The display and distribution of unregistered illegal firearms. Mr. Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors and sex workers at his homes in California, New York, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Florida. Now, why? Now, we just heard a video of him saying he's doing the Lord's work. Lil Rod filed this document February of this year. And the video we just saw of Diddy talking about needing people and doing God's work, that was done. He made that in 2022. Isn't that interesting? Because August of 2022, according to this document, is when Mr. Combs reached out to Mr. Jones to produce songs for this Love album. So again, I'm asking, what kind of work does Diddy's God do? Because why would he have Mr. Combs providing laced alcoholic beverages to minors? That's God's work. Or excuse me, that's his God's work, because that's what I gotta say. Is that his God's work? Because I'm confused. Because I wouldn't want my up and coming child, if they were an artist, going into no situation like this with no celebrity. It says Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, instructing her staff to retrieve drugs so she can provide it to Mr. Combs for his consumption. So Puff Daddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, was the one orchestrating the drugs that Mr. Combs was providing to everyone. And that's what this document is saying. Christian Combs was drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. Christian Combs is one of Puff Daddy's sons. Mr. Combs detailing how he planned to leverage his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to soften the impact on his public image of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. So let me get this straight. You're going to go towards somebody who has presented himself as a man of God. So you're trying to increase your relationship exposure with this man who appears to be a man of God, so that it'll soften the blow that you took behind Cassie's lawsuit. So this is all about show, what you can show. That is what I'm getting. So you standing next to a man who says that he's about God and that everybody knows him for being a man of God. So if your relationship with him is closer, it'll look more like you're trying to get your life together? Is that the picture you're trying to paint, Puff Daddy? Because that's not how I see it. And just like you, Bishop T.D. Jakes is a man. Just like you, he's a man. I don't let that. I don't allow that to go to the back burner because of the status that the world has him at or sees him at. No, he's still a man, just like you. Young Miami's cousin and or assistant sexually assaulting Mr. Jones. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually harassing and assaulting Mr. Jones. An assault can be as simple as you touching someone without their consent. There's a rapper here that they took out and a singer, R&B singer here, where they don't name these people. For some reason, they are not naming these people in this document. I find that to be of concern. But it says the rapper, whoever this rapper may be, was on Mr. Combs' yacht consorting with underage girls and sex workers. And this R&B singer, who's not named, or it's been redacted, in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with underage girls and sex workers. Now I wonder who this rapper and this R&B singer is. I have my guess of who they are. I'm just not going to name them, but I have my guess of who they are. And I also feel like their names are going to come out. If y'all not looking at them right now, y'all will be looking at these two particular people. Y'all will. Because like I said, this situation that's going on with Puff Daddy is only the beginning. I feel that there is going to be a trickle-down effect. I feel like the names associated with this man are all going to be scrutinized. I feel like there are a lot more surprises that are going to come about. And all I want to say is let this serve as an example to anybody who put celebrities on a pedestal. You do not idolize any man or woman. You do not. Because you just never know what these people are not showing you. These are always situations where once everything comes out, you can never look at people the same anymore. This situation is no different. And I think the situation with Puff Daddy has a lot of the elite scared as shit right now. A lot of people. That's what I think. This lawsuit by Mr. Jones, oh my gosh. I'm seeing pictures of clothes, bloody clothes, blood in the bathroom, blood on the floor. It says Mr. Jones was sexually harassed and assaulted by Mr. Combs. Throughout his time living with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones was the victim of constant, unsolicited, and unauthorized groping and touching of his anus by Mr. Combs. These events took place in Los Angeles, New York, Florida, and the United States Virgin Islands. In addition to the unsolicited and unauthorized touching, Mr. Jones was forced by Mr. Combs to work in Mr. Combs' bathroom as Mr. Combs walked around naked and showered in a clear glass enclosure. So is this the work of the Lord too? To have those that you are soliciting services from also work in your bathroom while being able to see you naked in the shower? Huh? No, I don't even think so. As a heterosexual Christian man, Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with Mr. Combs' advances and expressed his discomfort to Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Christina Coram, the same person who orchestrated the drugs and how they were given to people at these yacht parties and whatnot. The chief of staff, Christina Coram, responded to Mr. Jones' complaint with, "You know, Sean will be Sean." She also attempted to downplay Mr. Combs' groping of Mr. Jones's anus and genitals as friendly horseplay, stating that those acts were Mr. Combs' way of showing that he likes you. Now, what I'm going to say is that may very well have been the case. He could have been attracted to this man because, like I said, I believe that the women in Puff Daddy's life were a front to his true nature. He could never come out as being gay, so he had to do it in the dark. Where the only way you would find that out is if you were a part of his circle at some point. But that's still inappropriate. And that's still not okay. Especially if you don't know if the person you're trying to go after has that same sexual orientation. If you don't know, then that's not the way you go about finding out. Not in my opinion. You don't do that. That's inappropriate. And you would essentially be his boss, Sean Combs. So why would he be looking at you like that? Why would he see you like that? Why would that type of relationship even be appropriate for a working relationship? These are just questions that I have. Despite these assurances on several occasions, when Mr. Combs began to undress and walk around his house naked, Christina Coram would say, "Okay, I'm leaving now," and she would disappear. Mr. Jones believes that Christina Coram aided and abetted Mr. Combs' sexual assault of him and was working with Mr. Combs to groom him into accepting a homosexual relationship. I mean, she saw what he was doing, said nothing to Mr. Combs about Mr. Jones being heterosexual and being uncomfortable. All she did was excuse the behavior by saying, "Oh, Sean will be Sean. That's his way of showing he likes you." So it's almost like to me, I'm taking that as she may have dismissed Mr. Jones's uncomfortableness with the whole situation. So that could be taken as, if you're dismissing what he has to say to justify what Mr. Combs is doing or why he's doing it, why wouldn't he feel like you were accepting what Mr. Combs was doing? Mr. Combs was aware that Mr. Jones looked up to and idolized music producer Stevie J, who was a part of Bad Boys Records production team, The Hitmen. In 1997, he won the Grammy for his work on Puff Daddy's debut album. Mr. Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones's admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexuality. Mr. Combs went so far as to share a video of Stevie J penetrating a male without a condom. This was done to ease Mr. Jones's anxiety concerning homosexuality. According to Mr. Combs, this is a normal practice in the music industry. Look, even Stevie J is doing it. So Puff Daddy knew that Mr. Jones was uncomfortable with homosexuality. That was not, he was a heterosexual. In an attempt to ease his uncomfortableness with it, he took the idol that Mr. Jones looked up to, which was Stevie J, and used him as an example of why homosexuality should not be something feared. When he showed Mr. Jones this video of Stevie J allegedly doing what he was doing, is this not coercive to you? Because I think it is. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper blank, and Stevie J. So Mr. Combs was telling Mr. Jones that he engaged in sexual intercourse with this certain rapper that was redacted from this document, this certain R&B singer that was redacted from this document, and Stevie J. And again, I'm going to ask, who do y'all think this rapper and R&B singer was? And I noticed that they're making notice of the titles of these two people. And I think that's intentional, because there are some rapper and R&B singers that a lot of people know of that when you speak about one, you often hear the other. And I'm going to leave it at that. Mr. Combs promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. Now, why in the world would you be trying to suggest to a heterosexual male that if he engages in homosexual behavior, that you can promise that he will win a Grammy? So he's got to go against his own sexual orientation in order to win a Grammy? So it's like, what's more important to you? Standing on your own morals and values, or being successful? Why would you put somebody in a situation where they have to choose that they have to make a choice like this? So your God tells you to do stuff like this? Your God leads you to do things like this? I don't even want to continue with Lil Rod no more. But this document, oh my gosh, it's a lot that came out in this document. And we all know about Cassie. Okay. We all know about Cassie. But let me go ahead and bring this one. I think I already talked about her, but some of the things in her lawsuit was that Mr. Combs raped her in her own home after she tried to leave him. Excuse me, I don't even know if I could say that word. I think I have to say great. Mr. Combs raped her in her own home after she tried to leave him. Mr. Combs often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes. Woo, goodness. And we all saw some of that in the video in the hotel, from the hotel they were at, where Diddy was running down the hall in a towel, caught up with Cassie, slammed her to the floor, and started kicking her and dragging her. It says Mr. Combs blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Cassie. Mr. Combs forced Cassie to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Mr. Combs ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. I mean, I wonder why you're doing that. I thought that you CEOs and you big time exec producers and managers do not behave in that type of way. But that's not what this is saying. Why are you leaving out with a firearm? Mr. Combs demanded that Cassie carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. And to my understanding, that's not the first time he done asked a female to hold a weapon for him. Mr. Combs introduced Cassie to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addiction. So it sounds like when you get these artists under your belt, you really do make them work for you. Not just produce songs and be able to model and come, get these album contracts and stuff like that, but you also make them work for you doing other miscellaneous stuff. This is crazy. It's crazy. Well, let's continue. Now, this is Dawn Richards. Okay. I got hers too. Where? Okay. Dawn Richards. Miss Richard alleges upon knowledge concerning her own experience. Let's see here. I'm trying to see what exactly what she's alleging. Okay. It says in 1998, Mr. Combs explained the origins of his stage name in a USA Today interview. His nickname was Puff because he had a temper and was known to huff and puff when he was angry. Hell no. Over the decades following his rise to fame, Mr. Combs' life persona overshadowed his vicious temper and pervasive acts of violence directed towards those in his inner circle, specifically women. Now, I'm going to keep saying this, that I really feel like he had a personal vendetta against women, and that women were only to be used and abused, not loved. And this, I feel like, goes back to his mother. It goes back to his mother. Like, I really believe that Puff Daddy's mother was not the most nurturing. She might have been a materialistic woman, where that mattered more to her than emotional security. Because he's definitely like that. But he takes out a lot of his frustration on women. A lot of it. And I can only wonder why. On numerous occasions, Miss Richard witnessed Mr. Combs brutally beat his girlfriend, Cassie. His persistent abuse included choking and strangling Cassie, striking her with his hands and with objects, slapping her, punching her, throwing items at her, including a scalding hot pan. On many occasions, Ms. Richard tried to intervene, offering Cassie support and encouragement to leave Mr. Combs. Each time, Mr. Combs learned of her efforts to help Cassie. He became enraged, threatening Miss Richards' life with statements such as, "You want to die today? I make the N words go missing and I end people." That's what Mr. Combs said to Miss Richards when she tried to defend Cassie. Mr. Combs exploited Miss Richards' musical talent as a singer and writer while withholding her rightful earnings, stealing her copyrighted works, and subjecting her to years of inhumane working conditions, which included groping, assault, and false imprisonment, among other violations. For nearly a decade, Mr. Combs manipulated Miss Richard with mantras that submission to his depraved demands was necessary for career advancement. So in order for her to progress in her career, she had to submit to whatever he asked her to do, instilling in her the belief that such abuse and exploitation were required for female artists to succeed in the music industry. So in order for a female to succeed, they had to do what he said. This is what he told her. This is what he made her believe. This is how he made her succumb. That if she did not do as he said, as he demanded, she would not succeed in the music industry. It was not until Cassie's bravery in coming forward that Miss Richard realized her own personal suffering was tied to the many years of abuse by Mr. Combs that had become normalized for her. So she witnessed the abuse from Cassie. So we're gonna look at his chart, okay? Because there's some shit going on here, okay? I don't care how famous you are. Yo. That don't make you bulletproof, sir. That don't make you bulletproof. Oh, goodness. Saturn and Taurus can make you somebody who's greedy. It could make you somebody that's greedy. Okay? And having a Capricorn ascendant just amplifies that. Because he developed a structure early about how to get money. It looks like his Mars is in Capricorn as well. Oh gosh, that makes it worse because Capricorn is exalted in Mars. It means it's at its best in Mars. So from the start, he was a business-minded person from the start. How to get money. At a young age. One of the worst things that I see in this chart is that his sun in Scorpio, along with his Mercury in Scorpio, is opposing his responsibility. So that means that his ego and his communication or his expression is going to be the opposite of the reality, the opposite of responsibility. So what you're seeing and what he's saying opposes his reality. It opposes his responsibility. Because his chart ruler is Saturn. Saturn is about matured growth, responsibility, Saturn is business-minded, but Saturn believes in you do what you're supposed to do. Not all the time what you want to do, but you need to do what you're supposed to do. With the ego opposing responsibility, that means that he feels challenged when you question his responsibility or his accountability. Yeah. So I was right about that. I was right about that when I said that his ego is challenged whenever you question his accountability. I was right about that. Because when these lawsuits came out, the first thing he attempted to do was downplay the person, downplay the allegations. That's the first thing he did in each one of these lawsuits. He was not accountable for anything in these lawsuits until they showed the evidence, especially what came out after Cassidy's lawsuit. Okay. He denied everything. He denied everything. And then when the video came out, now he's got to do a follow-up video saying how he's sorry, an apology video, if you will. That's what it was. So you can apologize after this video comes out showing that you were abusing her, dragging her on the floor, kicking her. Okay. Now you can come out and apologize, but you were not trying to take accountability before that. Because why? Now the public can see what you were doing versus just having words on the damn paper. So I was right about that shit when I said that if you challenge his accountability or his responsibility, he's not going to like that. He's going to lie. He will lie. Okay. So whatever reaction that you see is a result of that. Like, for instance, all these alleged all these alleged acts of sexual, and orgies and calling male sex workers, like, that has been an accusation more than once on this person. More than once on this one person. Okay. And I just went through all the different cases so far that I've read on him. Don Richards, Joy Dickerson, Lil Rod, Cassie, and there was another guy, I think he's in prison though. It's another guy who brought a lawsuit against him claiming that DIDHE also assaulted him. But that case has been reversed for some reason. So whatever you question him about on that subject, you are more likely to not get a truthful answer. Because it's going against his it's going against his responsibility and accountability. He only wants to be accountable for the things he wants you to know, not for the things that he don't want you to know. The only way you're going to get that information out of him is if you go to trial. You first have to get out of his grasp in order to get the trial, though. And that has been a real problem for a lot of people. Being able to get out of his scope long enough to even try to bring a case against him. Because look at what happened to Cassie as soon as she tried to get out of his grasp. He was trying to prevent her at all costs, which leads me to believe this is not his first time. ever doing this. Because this man has been in the industry with people going way back to the 90s, okay, with this type of stuff going on. The lawsuit from Joy Dickerson, that happened in what happened with her and DIDHE happened in 1991. I'm just saying he has a history at this point of trying to shut people down before they can get to the court by any means, taking any measures. So he's not going to tell you what the reality is. That means that he's not going to tell you the truth. You can sit here and listen to all of these allegations out here about all of these different people about how P. Diddy is a closet door, okay? And he will deny. The minute that you bring out evidence that shows him in the act, he cannot refute that. He can't refute that. But you would have to bring the evidence out in his face first before he admits to anything. He's already proven that with Cassie. He was not going to own up to any of the abuse until you saw it happening. Not the first time, won't be the last. I'm telling you. Well, it probably will be the last time now because I don't think he's getting out. I don't think he's getting out at all. He's not. He's not going to tell you the truth. The same allegations from different people. This is also the 11th house. This is also the 11th house. Oh my gosh. You talk about humanity, okay? Different people. When I did this reading, this birth chart reading, that was March 1st of this year when I did this. March 1st. Okay, so this was after Cassie and after Lil Rod hadn't filed his lawsuit. Those were the two that were out at the time. So I had to come out and do a reading because I'm just like, you keep saying that these allegations are not true, or you keep saying that this stuff didn't happen, or, they're making up lies. But you also the one who told these people if they had, if there was anything that he did to them in the past where people are looking for him to, own up to what he did, he told these people to come out. He told them to come out. And then they start coming out. He's denying stuff. He's not owning up to anything. So why tell these people to come out and then you're not owning up to shit? Different people, and they all telling you the same thing about this man. This is how long this man has been able to put on a facade for the world. This has been happening multiple times throughout his life, and nobody knew or would ever know with Neptune here. Another thing to note is that his lot of fortune is also in the same house as Neptune. So even though what you may be seeing is not actually what's going on, he's going to benefit from it being that way. He's going to benefit from the way that it's portrayed. Not how it is, how it's portrayed. And that's what he benefited from. His entire life so far, that's what he's benefited from. There's some healing that needs to go on with this man because he's got Chiron in the 4th house, which means that the inner child in him is wounded because he wanted his way. He wanted his way. He was challenged in this area. It was about him. He cared about himself. There may have been violence around the home or in the home. Somebody may have been abusive here or abused here. So yeah, he's wounded here. And another reason why I think this is important to say that he's wounded there is so people will understand that this is the reason why he may have been so guarded against women. So he's very guarded against women. And this may have been another reason why he didn't care about allowing women to protect him or protect his fucking image. Like, if you don't care about women like that, or if you have no respect for women like that, you don't give a shit about allowing a woman to protect you or, you know, help you get out of a fucking situation because you don't care about women. So if you don't care about women, they're just a pawn to be used in your game. And I really do believe that this is what was going on with a lot of the women in his life. It was not about the love and the care that he had for them. It was more so about what they could do to help him further his own cause. So they were essentially tools to be used and controlled. Now, I wonder why he would have this type of mentality about a female. The first relationship that a child has is the relationship between him and his mother. That's the first bond, the first relationship, or should I say, that's the first bond that's supposed to happen. But the type of bond that happens is not the same for every child. What I really feel like is going on here is there was not a loving, nurturing bond going on between Puff Daddy and his mother. I don't think so. This was more of a you have to make a name for yourself. That's what you need to be concerned about, making a name for yourself. It's not about love, and it's not about care and all this other stuff. There was a lot of conflict in his life coming up. So that's what he knew. Fundamentally, that's what he knew, conflict. He knew aggressiveness. He knew that stuff early. So he knows to protect himself. He He has to protect himself. He has to protect himself. He knows that. But Pluto and Virgo would make you somebody who has an intense need to maintain his formation at all costs. Maintain who he is at all costs, or what he knows. He has a very, very analytical mind. But it's about preservation with Pluto and Virgo. Preservation of the philosophy he has experienced. The philosophy that he, through growing up and going through certain things and stuff like that, like through his experience. He can, in order to protect himself. Before I let y'all hear the rest, when I said that Pluto and Virgo is about preservation of the formation, what I am saying is that he has to preserve everything he's built. Everything he's built. So in order to do that, you have to keep what needs to be contained a secret, because there's a risk if it's exposed. So it's not surprising to me if you're somebody with this mentality that you do things like kidnap people, hold them against their will. You use coercive tactics, you use bribery, you flaunt your status around, your money around in people's faces as an intimidation factor. Because why? You're trying to preserve your secrets, the things that you have used to build your empire. You don't want that exposed, because if that gets exposed, then your empire could come crashing down. Well, I got news for you, Puff Daddy. It's coming down. It's going to come down. It's already coming down. Already. And you're about to hear my tarot reading, because I did my tarot reading about 3 weeks after I did his chart reading, to find out what was going to be happening with him. But this was a man who knew that in order to protect his investment, he had to preserve its infrastructure, how it was built. The only way to do that is to hinder any threats, any risk of exposure, because that was the only way that the empire could continue to build. But now that people are talking and that secrets are being exposed, and now definitely that the government is involved and then raiding his home and got all this evidence from his home, that's it. There's no way of keeping a tight grip or a closure on the infrastructure. it's open now. It's been dented. How can I say it? He knows what to say. He knows what not to say. He may be willing to let other people cover the details for him. So this is my tarot reading. So my tarot reading is about to start now. And I did this at the end of March where I was talking about Sean Combs because I wanted to see what was going to happen with him, being that he just kept getting hit with cases. So I was like, let me find out, because what I felt like at the time was going to happen was that this was not going to stop, that the lawsuits were not going to stop. So I decided to do a reading on him. And this is what my reading had to say. This is partially because I didn't do the whole video. I just took the first part where I'm explaining what's happening, what's going to happen. And I'm gonna just let y'all listen. Sean Puffy Combs. So we can find out the energy surrounding him right now. We want to know what the energy for Sean Puffy Combs is. What is he facing? What's going on with Sean Combs? Show me the energy of Sean Combs. Okay. We have Temperance. We have Judgment. We have the Star card. And we have the Hangman. I'm going to show y'all these cards up close because I know the camera is kind of far away. So I'm going to show y'all these cards up close so y'all can see what these cards look like up close. I got the Hangman. Okay. I need the Star card. Hold on. Let me get the Star card. There you go. Okay. So this is the Temperance card. So if you can't see it in the video, this is what it looks like. That's the Temperance card. And then this is the Judgment card. That's Judgment. This is the Star card. And this is the Hangman or the Sacrifice card. Because I know in the video it may look a little blurry, but I wanted to show you the cards in case you didn't know. So this right here is the affirmation. Okay, this is going to happen. Everything that he has been able to manufacture, everything he's come to understand, everything that he has had the ability to accomplish and circumvent or bring about, is going to be called into question, and it's going to be dealt with accordingly. Now, with the Temperance card here, it's going to mean that something's going to be done in moderation. There may be a transfer of energy, but it's going to happen gradually. What has been acquired can possibly become dismantled, also in a gradual way. But there's some kind of there's some kind of need for sustainment here. That requires a selective way of doing things. But it is going to happen with the Temperance card here. With the Judgment card here, this is what he has going on that could affect this. So the things that are going on here are going to provide, it's basically going to provide the understanding for what needs to happen here. This card is negation. And right now, for this person being under judgment, it means that the things that you've done, the things that you may be accused of doing, are being scrutinized. Or whether or not you've been moral in your undertakings. So I'm pretty sure now a lot of people are questioning his morals, his values, and all of the above, because there's been so many allegations surrounding the same types of violations. All these people, all these different people who ran in his circle are having had the same issues. And these are people from different times in his career. So this is going back to the 90s. Okay, all of these different people in the entertainment industry that have been having the same issues with this man So yes, all of his morals and values are falling under judgment right now. All of it. So judgment is happening for you right now. You are being judged. And there's a reason why you keep getting hit with cases from all these different people. And regardless of how many people report on this, you yourself know that judgment is upon you for your moral doings or your moral dealings, which is going to affect this transformation of energy here. Now, over here, we have the star. Okay? This right here is up for discussion. The reason why this is up for discussion is because there is a need for your actions to be called into question. Are you really a star? Are you really somebody who's doing what humanity believes that you're doing when it comes to these people you influence? Are you really the star? Because your undertakings are being called into question. So this is the discussion right now. Are you who everyone has come to understand you to be? Are you? Or I think that no, the answer is no. I think everybody knows that by now. Everybody should know that by now. I mean, you still have the few out there who are like, oh, he's guilty until proven innocent. Okay, we're going to leave you right over there in the corner until he's proven guilty. Are you just a facade of a star? Because this is the discussion right now. Are you somebody who is more of a humanitarian? Or are you someone who lives under the illusion of a humanitarian? Someone who's doing well or can help others to do well? You're providing good judgment, making good judgment, and being an appropriate figure for the masses. Are you? Because that's being called into question here with the star card here. I want to know what's going on here with you, Mr. Sean Combs, and why you keep ending up in the news for the same allegations. Based upon my spread, which actually shows exactly what you're going through right now in your life, this is the appropriate time for you to be judged. You have obstacles going on right now with this temperance card here, but you're being called to consult the strengths you've used so far to build your foundation. But don't use those same strengths to get you out of obstacles, because this is not the time. Your obstacles, the obstacles that that are being addressed about you right now, it is time for you to be judged. It's time. The solution. We have the hangman or a sacrifice. There's a sacrifice that's going to happen here. Because remember, I said that right now you're being judged. You're falling under judgment right now. You know this on the inside, and on the outside, a sacrifice has to be made. Especially, and I feel like that now we're starting to see the effects take hold, basically. The sacrifice card being here as the solution. That's why P. Diddy is arrested right now. That's why he's arrested right now. And the sacrifice, like I said, is going to be on a grand scale. I'm just telling y'all. Especially since you've had the time to build, inspire, provide, secure, be what those who surround you believe that you are, or believe that you can. This is so far what people see you as, and this is being called into question now. This is the discussion about you, whether or not you are a star or you are an illusion of a star. But with the sacrifice card here, you are going to sacrifice energy that you have already attained. It may even be energy that you may be in the middle of obtaining that may have to get sacrificed. It could be a sacrifice of your status. But there is a sacrifice that is going to happen. And it's going to be on a grand scale. With this card coming up in the solution. This is the solution that's going to come about. There will be a sacrifice. And all I got to say to that is, looking back on this situation, I really feel like Sean Combs is done. He's done. Now it's just a matter of, is he taking people down with him? That's the question now. The question now is he taking people down with him? Because I think further on in my reading, I do get shown that the people he is in business with, they too are going to have to answer for some stuff. So he's going to be a sacrifice. There is a big sacrifice where he may be giving out names, and I'm just waiting to see who all is going to be taken down behind this, because it's not just him that's going down. That's what I can tell you. It's not just him. It's more coming behind this. That's all I'm saying. It's more coming behind this. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about this. I'm not really surprised that Sean Combs is arrested. I'm glad that he's finally been arrested. I'm glad that he has been denied bail twice, because he don't need to be out. For more than one reason, he does not need to be out. He doesn't need to be where anybody can get to him, or he can get to anybody. Because anything that he does it's done to protect him. Anything that he does is done to protect him. Because I feel like this is a man who may have felt like when he was younger, nobody protected him. He didn't get the attention that he so deserved. The attention he would have liked. He did not get that. So now he's got to protect that. He's got to protect himself as an individual. He's got to look out for himself. And he still does that to this day at 50-something years old. So him getting out, it's not going to be any different. He's going to be looking to protect himself, whatever that may mean for him. So I guess we just have to see what's going to happen, because what I can tell you is that he's not getting out. That's not happening. All right, let me end this stream, because I really did not expect for it to be 2 hours long, y'all.